This is my lesson plan project in Screencast by me, Matthew Brick. I got the opportunity to teach different kids that I normally do not teach. This was a challenge, but I feel like I did a good job. The group of kids that I taught were fifth grader students, students with autism. This was a challenge to me because I normally do not teach this standard in my classroom. The standard was a math standard based on the coordinate planes, and I do not teach that to my K2 autistic students. The title of this lesson is Be the Boss. So the purpose of this lesson is to teach my students to graph on the coordinate plane using different points. The students will teach the class by making a 5-slide presentation teaching the class how to plot points on a coordinate plane. And this is just an overview of Prezi that I'll go into detail a little bit later. They will also make practice questions for the class to plot on paper. Students will be able to practice coordinate planes using the Coordinate Plane Interactive website. They use these arrows to match the coordinate points 4, 3. And they'll use this website at the beginning of the class. At the conclusion of the lesson, the students will use Kahoot to take a quiz plotting points on the coordinate plane that is set up by myself. The students will be graded on their presentation and on the assessment Kahoot. So next I'll go over the 3 tools that I used. The first one is Prezi. This is the tools that the students use to make their projects. This is an example of my Prezi that I made for the class. And here is the Prezi rubric that I used. They will be graded on using technology, spelling, and how they present their project. The next tool that I use is Kahoot. This is the assessment that the students use to take the coordinate quiz. Here are the 4 questions that I screenshotted from the Kahoot assessment that I made. Here's the first question. What are the points? You have to click on the one that is correct. Here's the second question. The third question. And the last question. They were given 10 seconds to complete each question. But I can also make accommodations for the students that may need extra time for each question for the Kahoot assessment. But here is the rubric that I use for Kahoot. It was just based on the number of questions that they got correct. If they got unacceptable, acceptable, and target. And here is the interactive website that the students use to practice coordinate planes before presenting their projects. I love this website because it's great for visual learners, and they just pick the coordinates, like this one's 4, 3, and then they get it correct. Now each student came up one at a time to present their Prezi. After every student finished their presentation, I summed up coordinate planes. I was excited how quick the students caught on using Prezi. The students learned so much after watching their peers' presentation. Many of the students got out of their comfort zones and were not afraid to present their presentation. They also did well taking the assessment. The one thing that did not go well was that some of the presenters did not keep the attention of some of the students. The lesson could be improved for the future by going over all the questions on Kahoot at the end of the assessment. We were rushed for time, so we did not go all over the questions. But lastly, I would recommend going over the internet tools that were used in the lesson or your lesson before starting on their presentations.